And in the days of these kings, your Yahweh has set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
My name is Cohen Michael Ben Levi of the Hebrew family of Guyana. The aim of these dissertations is to cause the true house of Israel, who have been without knowledge of themselves for countless generations, and who are now being awakened by the God of the universe, to better serve our Creator. It is our hope that by reacquainting this awakening black nation with their laws and former history, it will hasten our return to our true identity, thereby acknowledging our ancient ancestors. This in turn will allow us to know our Father's God and prepare us to stand together to meet the terrible day of the Creator that He is now readying for all mankind. May He cause all your minds and hearts to understand. Shalom Aleichem, Shabbat Shalom Lakim. It is a divine pleasure to speak with you today and hope and pray that all is well with each and every one of you in the listening audience, far and near. It is a divine pleasure and honor to share with you the words of the Creator and to try to help all of those on the planet in our endeavors to make this earth a better place for us and for our children in the days to come. It is our strong belief that our relationship with the maker of heaven and earth must improve, and so all of our messages are fact-based and they're connecting us once again with the Most High. Today you will be listening to a series of talks that will come in the form of messages that are scriptural based and historically based. And so today will just be the introduction to the topics that you'll be listening to in the next few weeks. And so today I will again start by telling you that 3 topics will be discussed over the next few weeks. And those topics will be the Bible, and again, the importance of the Bible. And today we will touch on that in the presentation. And we have another one called the law. And then we have one, the people. It is our fervent belief that 3 places of understanding must be clear for anyone to understand the Bible. And that is, you must know who the maker and creator of heaven and earth is. You must know the laws, and you must know his people, and you must know his book. And we're going to speak about the book today, and we'll let the tape begin to roll. And we'll start by introducing Genesis, the 5th chapter and 1st verse, because there is where last week's message ended off, showing us the very importance of having the understanding of genealogy and having the understanding of how the Bible is structured. And so we want to deal with the fundamental basis and then go into the deeper parts of the Bible, because if you don't have a strong foundation, then you certainly will not understand the even deeper messages written in the Bible. We're trying to give you a fundamental understanding of how to read, understand the scriptures from a scholarship perspective. Okay, in Genesis, the 5th chapter, verses 1 to 5, we find these words.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, in the likeness of Elohim made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Sheth. And the days of Adam, after he begot Sheth, were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died.
We must all realize that genealogy is extremely important in understanding the Bible. There is no way that a person will understand the Bible without understanding the genealogy. And last week we tried to show that as this genealogy of Adam continues, it will be verified by you reading and seeing that Noah continues Adam's genealogy after the flood. This is the genealogy of all human beings on the planet today. They're the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And we can say more about these sons because as the Bible goes on in its continuation, these nations begin to take more and more and play more and more greater role in the unfolding of the history of Israel. And you begin to understand how the nation of Israel comes into existence. So we're trying to lay a foundation of understanding the book called the Old Testament. And we're going to speak now about the book because the book, the Bible, is the key to what all of us who have read, did not read, and even the entire Western Hemisphere, which is a Judaic-Christian society, it's based on everything that I'm speaking about here. Now we're going into investigation to see what is the truth and reveal that we have not been told the truth these days and times concerning this book that all of us have. Now we need to read it for ourselves and see if Christian doctrine agrees with what the history of this book says. Let's continue on with the presentation that we have. One of many presentations, a series. This is the beginning of one of the presentations, starting with the Bible. Then we're going to go to the law, and the series will continue and deal with the people. And when all of these three portions are finished, there will be proof in everyone's mind that what I've presented is true. It's not any way you can deny it because it's coming from your Bible and you can research and investigate. Listen to this pre-recorded message and I'll be back with questions, perhaps to take a few and even to, again, expound on what you've heard with some final words. Toda. This is an introduction to a three-part series on three different topics. The first topic or subject is titled The Book. It asks and discusses the question of what is the greatest book of all time. The second topic is the law and asks and discusses the question of is the law of the Creator abolished or done away with? And the third and final topic is to be who is or who are the true people of Israel? today, and where are they found or located in the world? We want to look at all those three topics because our quest in the reading of the Bible is a quest for truth. Shalom Alaikum. It's a pleasure, a divine pleasure to share this information with you today. A few weeks ago, I began with presentations designed to target all mankind. Nothing has changed. As we've said in the introduction, that this is targeted in particular to black people who have lost their true identity and have been without knowledge of themselves for countless generations. Nonetheless, all mankind, when it comes to the knowledge of God, seems to be in a very confused state. Who is God is one of the questions that is baffling many, many people today. What is his name? Baffling many people today. Is he a jealous God, or is he one or a trinity? These are questions that must be answered. Is he a man? Some even say he's a female. Is he spirit or is he flesh? Concerning all the above mentioned questions, any sincere Bible reader, student must seek to acquire the correct understanding, the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding of these significant, very important questions. The forthcoming programs will provide additional guidance on the previous programs that we've had, and essential information will continue to be given to you to help you in your search for truth. To establish a truth-centered approach to biblical scholarship and understanding, 3 steps and 3 areas must be understood. We mentioned them earlier. The first is, which book is the book of the true and living God? And I'm saying to you, I will show that his book, the Creator's book, is the greatest book of all. We also are going to learn today that the laws of the Creator have never been done away with. And if you don't know that, you will be confused when it comes to understanding the Bible. Last but not least, if a scholar or anyone who reads the Bible, including the people of the Bible, if they do not know who are the true Israelites in the Bible, you will end up being confused about the subject of the Holy Scriptures or the Bible. So we want to, again, set that premise and move on in these areas that we'll point out over the next few weeks. Today we begin with the book. What do you know about the book? And we're going to look at some of the questions concerning the book. Some people have never read the entire Bible in sequence. Others have read this difficult book and haven't truly understood it. Many find the genealogy in the Old Testament confusing. The ancient languages, customs, traditions, and history of ancient nations, they find it very complicated. For some, biblical geography is also very difficult. Furthermore, millions have only been told through religious doctrine about the Bible. The Bible primarily is understood based on Greek writings or the New Testament. Many, without ever having comprehended or read the Hebrew scriptures or the Old Testament. It is the Levitical priesthood's sincere desire that these presentations on the Holy Scriptures will help to guide you all on the common sense approach and proper path to study and to understand the entire Bible. How well do you know the Bible? These presentations are here to help you challenge your own knowledge of the Bible. We are not attempting to put our thoughts or opinions, because we have no opinions. We're a fact-based, truth-centered teachings. It records, meaning the Bible, the Old Testament. It's essential for every person to know that the Old Testament records the history of black people, and it contains the codes of laws by which they were governed. Did you know that? Do you know that Israelites and Jews today only accept the older books as the Almighty's Torah? In other words, the books of the Tanakh. In fact, we'll see as we go down this list of do you know that Jewish people do not read the New Testament. You have Jews that are Jews for Jesus, but Orthodox Jews strictly read the Old Testament, and they have 39 books. However, in Christianity, as you see later, the Christians and Catholics in particular, they actually have 73 books in their Bible that they consider the canon of their Bible. Protestants, some Protestants also use 73 books, but there are other Protestants that actually recognize only 66 books as being inspired by God in the Bible. The Bible, it was also known as the covenant of the Creator. The covenant of Yah is also called the Berit, or the law. So the law is the very covenant made between Israel and the Creator. That's one premise upon which every person should know. It can't be done away, because Israel are people said in Jeremiah to be here forever. The Old Testament deals with Israelites and their history under the laws given by the Creator to them by the hand of Moses. Do you know that Jewish people, or European Jews who are converts, also observed the same Torah that was the laws of black people in Africa over 2,000 years before Judaism was established? Do you know that? Do you know that the plot of the Old Testament Hebrew writings describes a people delivered out of Egypt's oppression by the Creator of heaven and earth? It also tells you, if you read it thoroughly and challenge your knowledge, the Almighty made an agreement or a covenant, which are the very laws that we've been speaking about, the laws of the Bible, which He gave to His chosen people, and His people disobeyed and broke the covenant. Any person that reads the Bible will find that that is a fact, that Israel broke the laws of God, and they were told that they would go into captivity in numerous places. You cannot get around it. That's a fact. Challenge yourself, read it. As I said, don't believe me. This is not like Christian teachings. We say in Hebrew, the Hebrew way of life, don't believe us. We have been a people too gullible. We believe everything. So I'm saying, don't believe me. Investigate, research. I'm sharing information that you can just go and verify, substantiate, and determine for yourself whether this is true or not. Israel was scattered to the four corners of the earth. Prophecy states it. In the end of days, they will be gathered together. Just read Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, and you will find the facts that I'm presenting are there for verification. People, many people, do not understand the Bible. That's our sincere reason for doing these presentations. We're in a confused time on this earth. Nobody can doubt it. Just look around us. The pandemic. Just look at what's happened with the violence, the wars. In fact, I want to tell you about a trip that I made to South Africa. And it was a trip to Durban, South Africa, to KwaZulu University. That's the very place where Steve Biko went to school and did many of his speeches, if you know Steve Biko of South Africa. Again, we were invited, many scholars, and I was a part of a delegation, and we had a head person, Sar Mariel, who headed our delegation. And in this conference, the European president, host, that is, I should say, of South Africa, KwaZulu University, which actually set up this particular seminar or gathering. People came from all around the world, Jews, Christians, Israelites, and we were invited because the reason was that they determined that presidents of countries, CEOs of businesses, their policies around the world are based on a false understanding of the Bible. And this is why many decisions about Israel and other places are not correct and have produced wars and trouble, because the CEOs and the presidents and the prime ministers of countries do not know the truth about the Bible. And so we were there to determine, as people, Israelites, Jews, and Christians who profess to read the Bible and know the Bible, to discuss among ourselves and come up with the truth to present to CEOs and prime ministers and presidents. What is the truth in the Bible? And you can see that is a very important question, even for heads of government, to find out the truth of the Bible, because political, geopolitical questions and decisions and foreign policies are made based on what people know and understand about the Bible. Because the Middle East has controversies with the Arabs, the Palestinians. If you don't know the history and know that all of these things are based on the Bible, then you're going to be confused about the time. Because if you don't know the past, what happened, you won't know the present, and you won't understand the future. This is why this is so important, to understand this book we call the Bible. At this particular point, I want to test your knowledge of the book, the Bible. And let me say this about the Bible and about the book. There's a term that all basketball players know. It's probably not a professional basketball player that has not heard the term the GOAT. In basketball, this term, which originated in New York City, where I was born, by the way, in Harlem, and it was at a tournament known as the Rucker Tournament. And in the Rucker Tournament, some of the best pro players, they always end up playing on the Rucker court. And so in basketball, it's known that the GOAT is the greatest player of all time. You might have players like, some people think Wilt Chamberlain, he was the greatest player of all time. Some people think Julius Erving. Some of you don't know some of these people that I might know of my generation that go back. Earl the Pearl Monroe, one of the best guards, and you've heard of Walt Frazier and my generation. So when we talk about the GOAT in basketball, we're talking about the greatest player of all time. But today I want to ask you a question and sort of ask you, what's the greatest book of all time? Because that's important. You see, any book that a person reads, you have to qualify that book. In other words, is it authentic? Is the information being presented to you true or false? Because you know and I know, even when it comes to the Bible, maybe you don't know, but let me tell you, there's a lot of fake news about the Bible. Everything you hear today is not true that people are telling you. That's why it's important to seek truth. And the Bible says those who seek truth earnestly will find it, if you seek wisdom. So you have to be an individual that understands what is being presented to you today. A foundation, a path on how to arrive at the truth. I'm not telling you the truth. If I do share with you information, don't believe me. verify the truth. Prove all things that are being told to you about the Bible. Men have traveled far and wide over the earth, into strange lands and among even strange people. Names like Shakespeare and Dante and Ibsen and Goethe are known only in parts of the world. But there's only one book which the traveler finds in the farthest corners of the earth. That book is the Bible. Many translations, all of the Bible, have been widely distributed over the globe. There are many different versions of the Bible. And the Bible has been in every hotel room. You know, it's just a widely spread and distributed book. Almost everyone in the world can find at least parts of the Bible written in his or her own language. In all, there are nearly 250 complete translations. Millions of Bibles are sold each year. The Bible has been the world's bestseller. I've heard it said, and I think most people can verify, the Bible is the all-time #1 bestseller. Let's think about the word the GOAT. You know, this has always been my personal thoughts about the greatest player of all time. Just like Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer of all time. I don't really believe that these individuals can be the greatest of all time. Let me explain to you why. Because to be the greatest of all time, you have to exist in all time. You were great in your generation, Chamberlain, Julius Erving, Shaq. You understand? But in order for you to know whether you had to play against Chamberlain, then I'll be able to see was you better than him and all of those things. So again, when it comes to time, longevity, that's one of the thoughts about God that people should understand. How can you be a God and you died when God is supposed to be eternal? That's why when you're the greatest Muhammad Ali, once he dies, somebody else can come along that's going to do greater. But he'll be great at that time. But he won't be great in all time. So again, everything we hear, like I said, we can't be gullible and believe it. We got to think and reason. That's what I'm asking you to do with me today. Come and let us reason together. Let's not make it an argument, a contention over what I'm saying and picking out whether I use the verb or the noun correct. That's not what this is about. This is about understanding. Do you understand? That's why in languages, the key is to understand what the person is saying. When you read a book, you can't make up your opinion of what the book is saying. You have to comprehend what the writer is saying. That's why you have to qualify. Is the writer speaking his opinion? Is the writer has a bias? You got to ask those questions, and you have to read the book to see whether that book is being truthful in its presentation of information to you. You have to verify. You have to corroborate what he's saying. That's why you have to research. Even words that in different cultures, you can use words like today. If we say, what's up? If you don't know what we're talking about, then that's what you call an idiomatic expression. It's an expression of the community, of the region, of the time, of the place. Bible has so many idiomatic expressions. If you don't know what they mean and go to a Bible dictionary and look that up, you ain't never going to understand the Bible. Here, I'll just give you one. I'm not going to tell you. See if you're going to research it. Smoking brand of fire. You are a smoking brand of fire. That's a biblical statement. What does it mean? I'm challenging your knowledge on the Bible. Yes. There are other books that are written too. Can they compare to the Bible? You have to find that out. The Bible is broken down into many books. Anybody who reads it. You have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. You have Joshua, and then you have, of course, Judges, and you have all those books. Then you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Hey, Are they all of the same? One part of that book called the Bible is Hebrew writing, Hebrew heritage. Another part of it is Greek writings and heritage. It's not even a book that's from the same people. The book is a book that has various inputs into it. It's laws, it's history, it's prophecies. It's also, in the New Testament, words that are inspired by men. There's part in the Bible that says, thus saith the Lord. That's how the Old Testament speaks of God. Thus saith Yahweh, because Lord as I told you in my previous talks, I showed you, we're going to go into the Bible, perhaps they'll put it up. In fact, let me make this statement. There's no place in the entire Old Testament where the same name Yahweh for God exists. In Genesis, you only find Yahweh. In Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. When you go to Joshua, every one of the books that are called the Ketuvim, the Psalms, the Proverbs, there is no other name referred to the Creator in the Old Testament but Yahweh. The other gods are called false gods, or Baalim and what have you. They're in there, but they're not the God that made heaven and earth. He's distinguished if you're a true Bible reader. Remember, don't believe me. You who have read it, I'm just verifying your knowledge. We're in agreement. That's why we can walk together. Because sooner or later, all mankind is going to walk together when we all know the truth of the Bible. Malcolm said it. He said, black people, when I was a youth, he said, you've been duped. You've been bamboozled. You've been hoodwinked. You've been tricked when it comes to the Bible. And that's why I said, I was a teenager listening to Malcolm.
I must emphasize at the outstart that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not a politician.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm not here this afternoon as a Republican, nor as a Democrat.
Tell it, brother.
Not as a Mason, nor as an elk.
Well, tell us what you here for.
Not as a Protestant, nor a Catholic.
That's right.
Not as a Christian,
on,
nor a Jew.
All right now.
Not as a Baptist, nor a Methodist.
Yes.
In fact, not even as an American.
Yes, sir.
Because if I was an American, the problem that confronts our people today wouldn't even exist.
That's right.
Now we ain't Americans, huh?
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man. Before there was any such thing as a Republican or a Democrat, we were black. Before there was any such thing as a Mason or an elk, we were black. Before there was any such thing as a Jew or a Christian, we were black people. In fact, before there was any such place as America, we were black. And after America has long passed from the scene, there will still be black people. I'm going to tell you like it really is. Every election year, these politicians are sent up here to pacify us. They're sent here and set up here by the white man. This is what they do. They send drugs in Harlem down here to pacify us. They send alcohol down here to pacify us. They send prostitution down here to pacify us. Why, you can't even get drugs in Harlem without the white man's permission. You can't get prostitution in Harlem without the white man's permission. You can't get gambling in Harlem without the white man's permission. Every time you break the seal on that liquor bottle, that's a government seal you're breaking. Oh, I say it again, you've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
I wonder, was Oprah listening? She has a book club. I wonder what she would say is the #1 book of all time. Call me up, Oprah. I know you agree with me. This is the #1 book. There's no book greater than the book that God gave to Moses on Mount Sinai. I'll challenge anybody on the planet. The Pope. Ask him to invite me to the Vatican and let's discuss this. No other book can equal to this book we call the GOAT. And I'm going to let you know, you think that I'm probably saying the Bible is the GOAT. No, the Bible is not the GOAT. Now, what do you think I'm talking about? The Bible is not the GOAT. It's not the greatest book of all time. Because the Bible is the whole book, the Old Testament and New Testament. I'm going to show you that the GOAT is in the Bible, but it's not the Bible itself. Yes, you know, the Bible might even be called correctly a library. Because look, as I told you earlier, Christians, Catholics, identify 73 books, and some Protestants also recognize 73 books. We're comparing religions. Maybe you don't know this fact. Don't believe me. Here's the fact. The first of the greatest 3 religions on earth today, which are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and they came into existence in that order as religions. The Jewish religion was the first one established. It was established on the heritage of the Israelites in the Bible. They converted and based their religion on the laws that are in the Old Testament. All Jews that are listening know what I'm saying is true. So they don't read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's Greek writings. Jewish people who are Europeans, many of them who were Christians, said, no, the Christianity New Testament is not where it starts. We have to go back to the old. And they claimed the heritage and identified with the heritage of the African Hebrew Israelites and formed a religion called Judaism. Call me up. Many Jews know it.
That I know that the black people that are here in the United States now are not African. I know that. The term African American is what the white man has pinned on them. Basically, I feel to try to keep hiding their true identity. They want them to think they're African, so they won't find out who they really are. So I know, and I wanted to clarify that I know the black people here are the true Hebrew Israelites. I know that. So let me just get that out there and clarify that. Also, something interesting that some people may not know is that actually Africans, they don't like the black race that's over here. They don't like them. They hate them. And the only thing that conclusion that I can come to is that because the Africans know that they're the true Hebrew Israelites. They know they're the chosen people of God. So therefore they hate them. That's the only reason, the only conclusion that I can come to. So I just wanted to clarify that I do know that they are not African. Just because the white man got them from the continent that we now know as Africa doesn't make them African. I mean, okay, I live in America, but I'm not American. I mean, it was not my choice to be here, and I don't like it here. Simple. I mean, that's just being honest. So, like I said, just because they were brought from the continent of Africa doesn't make them African. And I wanted to read something. It's from a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. And if you can get this book, I would encourage it because it's really interesting. There is a paragraph, here on page 84. It says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. So that shows you right there exactly how the Hebrew Israelites got into Africa. And it just reiterates my point about them not being African just because that's where they were at. And also one other thing is, it's not coming from the Bible, it's coming from the Bible dictionary. And under Ham, it says, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. Now this is the key point. He became the progenitor of the dark races not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So anybody who wants to try to say that the black race, they come from Ham, that's not true. That is not true. He was a progenitor of all the other dark races, just not the Hebrew Israelites.
Hi, shalom, shalom from Israel. This is Ola, the daughter of Jethro. And I just heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are. But you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel. And I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem, because us the Gentiles, we do need you. We need you to come and pray, because you are our saviors. You're the one that was chosen by Yahweh to live in this land, not the Jewish people, it's you. You were stolen from Africa, they deceived you, they told you that you are slaves, but you actually the children of Israel. And it's time just to come back. Come for your people, come back for us, come back for the whole Gentiles, because only you gonna save us. So please come back to Zion.
See, sometimes black people only believe something when they hear Europeans say, because they're not white. See, that's another thing that has everybody confused. You know, there was a time in ancient days when in the Old Testament, they only recognized people by the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Egyptians, the Philistines. All of them was black. Nobody never said the black Philistines, the black Egyptians. That was common sense. Nobody ever identified with color anyway. They identified with cultures, with lands, with identities, ethnicities, nationalities. That's what you find. That's why people don't understand the Old Testament, because they don't know about, the Babylonians, the Assyrians. Yeah, because you got to look up those things and see how they came about. And the only way you're going to know that history is in the Old Testament. That's why, here's another fact. The New Testament and the Koran, the Holy Koran, because I'm respectful of their religions and books, I want you to know, they could not exist without the history of the Old Testament. Ask them. Go and ask them, can Yishmael, who is the father of Islam, because he's the father of Muhammad, if he could exist without Abraham taking Hagar and having Yishmael. You got to go back to Genesis to read it. It's no place else. That's the origin of it. If you want to read anything about, they say Christ and JC, and they talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and all the kings of Israel, they too got to go back to verify their so-called religion. They all do, because it's based on the history of the Old Testament of the Bible. We move on. 66 books for some of the other participants of religions. Hebrew Israelites in the Bible that you read about, this is a fact. They were not religious. They were people. Israel was their ethnicity. Hebrew was their language. They had a culture. They were a people. The Old Testament has nothing to do with religion. That's a concept that came after the Old Testament history and the children of Israel were scattered. They never had religions. There's no word in Hebrew called religion. I speak Hebrew fluently. There's a word called dat, it's tradition, but there's no word called religion in the Hebrew language because we didn't have one. We didn't need a word for religion because we had laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments. And those words, let's listen to them. I'm not going into law now, but we have to think about this. Commandments. When you are commanded to do something, that's a law. When you have a judgment to be put to death and they put you on death row, that's the same as the Torah. It's a judgment. It has nothing to do with religion. When you speak about a statute, something that is invoked, let me give you an example. In the Torah, there's a place where we had females who were the daughters born to a man called Salafkad. And Salafkad had no sons. So the daughters of Salafkad came before Moses. And they asked him, they said, our father, he did not die with Koran, Dathan, and Abiram. He died in his own sin. Why should we be denied as women, and my father had no son, as sisters, to have the land given to us that would have gone to his sons? And Moses didn't know what to do. He went to the Creator and he asked him, and Yah made a statute. That's what in any country, a statute is a judgment that the judge or the court makes and puts it into the Constitution. That was enacted because of a special situation. That's what a koch or statute in Hebrew, and even in the other countries, that's what it is. So it's not religion. Don't believe me. Every Jewish person knows it. They don't go around and proselytize and tell people, and I want you to know, I've worshiped with Jewish people. This is not an attack on anyone. This is to corroborate that they know what I'm saying is true. They study the very book that I'm describing to you. If you want to know what Judaism is, it's the lifestyle of a religion of converts who were Europeans that now live by African laws that are in the book of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. They keep Passover. Passover is it's a law in Leviticus. Yom Kippur is not a Jewish Passover or Jewish Yom Kippur. It was an Israelite Passover, an Israelite Yom Kippur. All the days were Israelite days. And that's why, I don't know why people are so angry with these Israelites, my brothers and sisters all around the world. Just go on the internet today and see how many of us are telling you that we know that we are the children of Israel. Why is everybody believes other people, but when we say something, you don't question them the way you question. Why don't you question the other people the way you question us? That's all I'm saying. Just be fair in your investigation of what Europeans are saying about being Israelites or identifying with this heritage and what I and so many of my brothers and sisters.
I want to just apologize for that short technical difficulty, but we want to just say, if you've been listening, there is no doubt that this is a controversial topic and subject. And we all realize that things that we've just heard about the Bible, they're factual. It is true that the original testament in the Bible is the Old Testament. And it's also true that the GOAT, the greatest book of all time, is the 5 books that Moses was given from the Creator on Mount Sinai. That's the GOAT. Yeah, and what book could be greater than the Creator's book? Who's more intelligent, can write more intelligently than the maker of heaven and earth? And this is again why the Bible cannot be done away with. This, the foundation of the genealogy of the nations on the earth. It tells you that the Fertile Crescent, a term that refers to the Garden of Eden and where Adam and Eve actually were made, created, and placed in the earth. The Fertile Crescent. That's in what is a crescent type shaped moon that is part Africa and part Asia. That's the Fertile Crescent. It even mentions some of the territories there. So the Bible is very important. And we're speaking about, now we can get down and say the Torah is very important because the Torah is the foundation of the whole book you call the Bible. The first 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. What do you lose if you throw those books away? You won't know where. Then they can really sell you that we came from a monkey. But they can't do that with a genealogy. That's why the creationists, they challenge those who say they're Darwinists or believe in Darwin's theory or evolutionists, because they have a record that says, no, it cannot be true. We did not start with a big bang. The universe and human beings did not come into existence from some little creature that came up out of the water onto land and formed feet and was a monkey and all these different things before becoming a man. That's ludicrous. Everything begets after its own kind. Those are the Creator's words. You can't dispute it. Tell me, when can you go to a banana tree and get a plantain? Even though the plantain tree and the banana tree look alike, every person in the West Indies can tell you, no, that plantain tree will never bear bananas and the banana tree will never bear plantains, even though they look alike. And those who know the difference, they know how to tell the difference in the tree, but the tree has an intelligence of its own. Every plant has an intelligence. It will beget after its own kind because the creation was commanded to do it by its maker, the creator and maker of heaven and earth. These are things that they're verifiable. You can go and see, when did a monkey in a cage in a zoo ever say, hold on for a few minutes, I'm about to turn over into a man? Because if evolution is based on time and time has not stopped, then people should still be evolving out of a monkey into a man. There's still monkeys out there that haven't yet reached this level of intelligence or of human creation. It's ludicrous. We know that because we know truth. And we know that the Creator is the truth. That's why you have a Bible. He had to leave the truth here, for he could not leave humanity without a guideline of how to live and exist on the planet Earth. And I'd like you to listen to this precept. It's in Isaiah 24, because it tells you in the 5th verse that this, and where we're going in previous and in future discussions on this topic, is to the law. Because the covenant, see, the covenant is an agreement that the Israelites would do the law and that Yah would be their people. They could never break the covenant. The covenant is eternal. It's how they're to be governed, the rules that they're to live by forever. And it says that in the Bible. That's why I said, you've been listening to fake news. You've been duped. Our people have been bamboozled. You've been led astray. You've been led from the Old Testament to the New Testament to religions. You've been led from identity to religions, from heritage to religions, from language to religion. That's why you don't know who you are. You're destroyed for the lack of the knowledge of who you are, of your language, of your history, of your culture. And it's being shared to you, but don't believe me. You ain't gonna believe me anyway. But at least I hope I can get you to read. And let me tell you who I'm really targeting. I want our young people. See, you're the future. You're the ones that really need to know this truth. Some of your parents are stuck because their mother was a Christian. Their grandmother was a Christian. And they'll tell you and tell everybody else they're gonna be a Christian to the day they die. Those are the people that they're not open for intelligent thinking. I'm speaking for people who are intelligent. Because to serve the Creator, you have to be intelligent. He holds you accountable for not being intelligent. You break those rules and do something because you feel that it's different than what the Creator, you're going to suffer. That's why you have judgments. See, that's why another thing, if the law is done away with, why are people still dying for adultery, for murder? Because no country, see, all countries, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because that's in lessons to come, but I have to tell you this, man cannot live without law. Where there's no law, there's lawlessness and chaos. The Creator would never put us on the planet and leave us here without rules. They gotta have rules. Even two people in the house gotta have rules. I'm telling you. Let's listen to Isaiah 24:5. And I'll read it. Yivareka Yahoo will share that precept with us.
The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, violated the statutes, broken the everlasting covenant.
Leave it on the screen. Leave it on the screen, please, because we want them to see this. This is in your Bible. What it means defiled under the inhabitants. It means that the inhabitants have sinned and they have brought the earth into a controversy with the Creator. You've defiled yourselves. You've made yourselves unclean. You've made yourselves unfit to be blessed. You've broken the covenant. You've broken the laws because they have what? Transgressed the laws. Not only Israel, everybody on the earth. The laws are there for everyone. Murder. Even if you're not an Israelite, thou shalt not murder. If you're not an Israelite or are an Israelite, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not lie one to another. All of us, we're guilty. I confess and I apologize for me and my people. We have broken these laws. We are guilty. All the Israelites that know this, that are listening to me and on the other programs all over the internet, they're saying the same thing. We violated. We're acknowledging it, but you better, the other nations better see something. Check out how many of us are awake today. Are we still sleeping? 100 years ago, how many of us were telling you we now know who we are? And we know that we violated the statutes and broken what? The everlasting covenant. Because if it's an everlasting covenant, that means that once we return to the covenant and start doing the laws, we can come out of this. Because that's why they don't want you to understand. There's an end game to the prophecy. There's an end game to the Bible. The Europeans got an end game too. You hear everybody talk about these terminologies. I'm trying to say to you, there's an end of days message in the Bible that tells us how all of this is going to turn out. And it will tell you, and I will prove it, the Israelites are going to be gathered, awakened, and returned. That's why I know this. I was in my 20s when I found it. One day, I'm going to share with you my autobiography. It's being written right now because it's 72 years of showing you what a Black man that was ignorant, who at 20 years of age found out the truth and began to study and research up to 52 years later, and that's the person you're listening to now, have written books, Israelites and Jews, The Significant Difference, The Final Resolution, The Separation of Truth and Lies in the Bible, because I researched this over 20-something years ago, read books on it, and Hebrew book, and get into put out other books and start Hebrew classes. Hey, because truth is needed today. People are seeking, they're hungry. I know it. So if you're angry because people are telling the truth, don't be angry. You can't stop it because it's the hand of the Creator. It's the prophecy being fulfilled. If you're a European and you want to be saved, turn to these words, tell the truth like those other Europeans did, start confessing. You know this is true. You know, many of you Jews, that we are the true people. Why don't you just tell the world, they are the true people, but we agree. Their God, the Creator of heaven and earth, which is the God of everybody, He's great. He's the God of Europeans, the God of Africans. He's the God of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. He's all of our God. But we're all brothers, but we're not acting like we're brothers. I'm saying, why don't we start acting like we're brothers again? All the different races, and bring this humanity to peace and give our children a real future. And the European children, you're the key. You can make things right. by telling this truth and doing what you can when you inherit that power that they have. Now you do right and do what you know is correct by all peoples. That's how the earth, somebody's going to do this because it's prophecy. The promise of return is in the Bible. And we're going to look at it because, again, that's how we're going to end out. But just to reiterate, 3 things we'll be covering. The book, this is only the first presentation. Next week, there's going to be more on the book. There may be 3 series just on the book alone. Then we're going to go to the law and thoroughly show that law is all over this world. And the laws that you get today, you inherited from previous generation. Nobody comes in a baby and makes up laws for this generation. No, you living by Torah laws that were already here. We're going to cover it. And the last one, you'll never understand the Bible until you know who are the real people of the Bible. You're looking at one of them. The others look just like me. They may be different complexions, but I told you earlier, it's not about color. There are even places in Isaiah 56, I'm not going to go there. I just want to tell you where Yah says that his house will be a house of prayer for all people. My message is to all peoples. This is to my people in particular because what? Charity begins at home. I got to help my people, and they are in more need of this truth than anybody. So I want you to know, they're the target, but everybody on the planet is. Because when you get the truth, it'll make us all understand the relationship we must develop with one another and with the maker of heaven and earth. If your God that you think is God or worship did make heaven and earth, you are in trouble. Because the Creator said that all the gods that did not make heaven and earth shall perish from under heaven and off the face of this earth. And it's going to happen. The Old Testament is the original testament. It says, thus saith Jehovah. In the New Testament, it's a Greek book. We read it, but it's not our history. We don't take it to heart like we take the history of our forefathers. You know, they say something about the Bible. My teacher, Cohane Levi, always used to say this, and I want to reiterate its powerful thought. He would say, they say that the Bible, the author is unknown. The author of the Bible is known. They know that Moses wrote the first 5 books, and they know that Moses was, today, if you saw Moses, you call him a Negro. So Moses, the Negro, your forefathers, colored people, so-called Black people, your people are the ones who wrote the Bible. I'm talking about the Tanakh, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, which is the Torah, the Nevi'im, which is the prophets, Isaiah, Joshua, Judges, Samuel, all of them look just like me and just like you. And when you look at and understand the entire understanding of those people that are in the Bible, they were scattered to the 4 corners of the earth, and those are the people that wrote the Bible. Your forefathers, Daniel, he wrote the book of Daniel. Sometimes we had scribes, but the author, they should tell you, the author of the Bible is the so-called Negro and his ancestors. They won't do that. I'm doing it because it has to be done. We have to hear the truth. This is the time. Again, the Holy Koran. Do you know Surah 2 or the 2nd Surah? Throughout that Surah, I was reading it yesterday, it says the people of the book. And it speaks about us in very, very low terms, meaning that you sinned against God. The people of the book did evil things, and if it said in one surah that if you lend to one of those people of the book, there's one of them that you don't have to worry, he'll give you your money back. He's an honest one. But there's another one of them, they ain't saying Israelites, but the people of the book, which are the Israelites. There's another one of them, you got to follow him up and ask him for your money every day because he's not an honest person. That's in the Koran. A lot of other stuff is in there. They know that they're talking about the Negro. Every Arab knows that. Ask them. And that's what you could do, my brother, because you're my cousin, Ishmael. I want you to know, tell the world, that man is right. I'm his cousin, and I'm a son of Ishmael, and his father is Abraham, and my father's Abraham, and my mother's Hagar, and his mother's Sarah. They know it. They're just not telling it because it prophets, everyone who's trying to take the land of the man who has amnesia. We have amnesia. They know it. We had amnesia. We don't have it now. I don't have it. I'm waking up. Or many of us are waking up. We're not sleeping anymore. We're awake. And that's why they got to deal with this controversy now, because we're not sleeping anymore. And it's not going to stop. The Creator is behind this. And if you want to get a blessing, all those that bless Israel shall be blessed. That's what that woman was trying to tell you, a European. And all those that curses shall be cursed, because they know it. And it's the time now where curses going to come down like showers of rain, because the people are awakened. It's the time of the truth. The Holy Koran, and every Muslim knows what I'm saying is the truth. Every Arab, if you're intelligent and you know history, you know this is not racist. I love the people of the planet, the good ones. I love righteous people, because you know, you got to deal with everyone. There's a time and a place for everyone. If you're evil and wicked, that's a time and a place for that. That's what Solomon said. There's a time to live, a time to die, a time to be born, a time for war, and a time for peace. Hey, I'm clear. We are clear as a people. So we want you to know. And there's some brothers on the corner, they want war. You could choose, because there's Israelites saying, hey, you want war? We ready. And there's peaceful ones saying, hey, we hope that you can deal with this peacefully, because that's the right way to do it. Even in the law, it says that when you approach a city, it's called Wayet Say, when thou goest out in Deuteronomy 21st chapter is where it starts. And it says in the 11th verse that when you go out to battle, declare peace, shalom unto them. We don't just start war, we can't. We always try to see if we can settle it peacefully. And then whatever comes, we got to deal with it. But again, it's about peace. That's why we say shalom. So I want you to know another thing that's true. Don't believe me. From Genesis to Malachi, there's only one name used for God throughout. It's called Yehovah or Yah. That's the name. Elohim means the powers. El Shaddai, Almighty, Ha'elyon, the Most High. That's not his name. But the name Yehovah, from Genesis to Malachi, in the Hebrew tongue, it never changes. If you read the Bible, Old Testament in Hebrew, you will know they're playing games on you when they say God's name has changed. He never changed it. Who changed it? It's not changed in the Hebrew writings. It changed after we went into captivity. Just like they changed our name, they changed God's name, they changed the name of Africa, which was called Eden. They changed a whole lot of stuff. They're good at changing. Yeah, but I want you to know, a change will never be as good as the original. Just think about that. That's why they have artificial orange juice, and they got pure orange juice. We're the pure thing. There's a lot of artificial stuff out there. We respect them as artificial. One day they're gonna have to respect us as being the original and being the real deal. That's what this is all about. Truth is here, and you can't stop it. Malcolm, who played Denzel Washington, they should have gave him an Emmy award for that. They should have gave him an Oscar. That was a great portrayal of Malcolm X and what he spoke about. And in that clip, if you remember, Malcolm said, I'm not a black man. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a politician, Democratic or Republican. He said, I'm a black man, because Malcolm was limited. Truth keeps coming in every generation. You got to weigh this message and say, is this an extension of what Malcolm was saying? Is this now taking us to a deeper place where we have to go? Did we, in our understanding, die with Malcolm, with Martha, with Luther King? No, there are going to be people after me that's going to come in after all of this generation that's going to keep coming with more and more truth. This is not going to stop. Yah is the greatest of all time. So great people, he makes them every day. They're all over the earth. They all are great. Many people are great. Many people out there you never heard of, they're great. I'm telling you, because the greatest of all time, I'll never forget, everybody talk about Kobe, but I listened to an interview that Kobe did a few days before he died, and he said, God is the greatest. Man, if people just knew what he meant, because in his heart, he knew God made me great as a basketball player. He made whatever you are, whoever you are, wherever you are. It's your creator. You're not the great one. He made you what you are. Give him the glory. That's why we're here, to tell of Yah's glory, the creator. Malcolm, if he was alive, he'd tell you, because he said I'm a black nationalist in his interview in that same clip and movie. Spike Lee, I love you. You're a great, great producer of movies. I wish you could produce some of the stuff of the Bible to show black people playing the roles of Moses and playing the role of David and Solomon with the correct understanding so that people can get and see another side of us other than that degenerate side that many times they enjoy, that Tyler Perry, another great producer, does, but it takes us in the wrong direction. That's the only thing I have with it. We need to hear more and more righteousness and see more and more things of good and right, because as a man thinketh, so is he. And we are being put under a certain thought by what we hear and what we see. That's why the music you listen to has to be the right music, and the music your children listen to, and the movies, things that you approve for them to see and hear, they have to be things that's good for the mind. That's going to produce a righteous character and personality. As we close out, some Europeans know, you saw it in the clip, we could put up hundreds of them that will say the same thing. Black people, you are the real people. Don't believe me only. Believe them. They're telling the truth. Believe people who tell you the truth. You are so-called black man. You're the nation of Israel. You're the 12 families. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Dan, Gad, Asher, Judah, Zebulun, Issachar, Dan, Benjamin, all in the West Indies, all over the world. If you look at the names that black people have out of the Bible, it's those types of names. Benjamin, David, Solomon, because we relate to that. When we speak of the Bible in all Africa, they speak of Ezekiel and the wheel. My aunt used to speak about, in the South, the black people would speak about not gleaning the corners of the field relating to the Bible. The circumcision that's done all through Africa, in Ghana, by the Igbos in Nigeria, all related to the Bible. If you go to all the colonial territories, you will see nothing but the practice of the Bible and the culture of the Bible. Even things that we say, everything is copacetic. That's copacetic there in the Bible. That means everything is okay. We say things like in the Caribbean, we say, come nah. Nah is a Hebrew word. It means please. We didn't forget everything. Nobody can go and be as numerous as we are all over the earth in thousands, millions, and billions and forget everything about who you are, your culture, your language, everything. Impossible. We have little bits and pieces all over. You just have to know how to connect the dots. And I'll tell you this, in Isaiah 29:9, it says, stupefy yourselves and be stupid. Blind yourselves and be blind. Ye that are drunken, but not with wine, because Yah, Yahweh, has put a deep sleep upon you and have covered the eyes of your seers, your prophets. That's why nobody could do this. The Bible was sealed for hundreds and hundreds of years. Nobody could do it. I was so pleased to hear and meet Cohane Levi ben Yisrael, who told me he heard it from Rabbi Israel Wilkins, Yeremiah, we knew him by those names, that he heard it from Rabbi Matthews, and that Rabbi Matthews taught others. And today it's Rabbi Shalom and so many rabbis, Benjamin and Rabbi, I can't think of all of them, so many of them, but they all are brothers. We all know each other. We're saying the same thing. We know how we involved into Kohanim, which I am. So, contemporary history, the Europeans can play all the games he wants. This is a marathon. This ain't no sprint. We're gonna catch up past you, even if we already haven't passed you. We will, and we're gonna win the race. Meaning that you are not going to conceal our identity forever. The truth will come out. No matter how long you suppress it, the truth always rises up and gets to its point. I'm going to ask our brother, Give a Record Yahoo, to end out with Ezekiel 39, 21 to 29. 39th chapter of Ezekiel, my last precept, 21 to 29. It proves that prophecy says a promise of return is to be in the Bible. Israel will return, and the true people, it says.
And I will set my glory among the nations, and all the nations shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Jehovah their power from that day and forward. And the nations shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they broke faith with me, and I hid my face from them. So I gave them into the hand of their adversaries, and they fell all of them by the sword, according to their uncleanness, and according to their transgressions did I unto them, and I hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith Adonai Jehovah, now will I bring back the captivity of Yaakov, and have compassion upon the whole house of Israel. And I will be jealous for my holy name, and they shall bear their shame, and all their breach of faith which have committed against me, when they shall dwell safely in their land, and none shall make them afraid. When I have brought them back from the peoples, and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations, they shall know that I am Jehovah their power, and that I caused them to go into captivity among the nations, and have gathered them unto their own land, and I will leave none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them. For I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith Adonai Jehovah.
And so today, you can see that the spirit of the Holy One of Israel is upon many of our brothers and sisters that are on the internet and sharing with you this truth and this message about who we are as a people, the creator and maker of heaven and earth, the Holy One of Israel, the God of Israel, the God of the so-called black man. And this truth is going to reach us all. We'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank again all of our technicians that put this program together. Look forward to the series on these topics, the book. We have more to say on the book, more to say on the law, and more to certainly show on the people of the nation of Israel. So in next week and the weeks to come, we will be continuing these programs to shed more and more light on this truth that we're speaking about. Toda Rabbah, may the Holy One of Israel bless you. May he continue to protect you and shield you against this plague that is on the planet, this sickness. Let us stop it by placing righteousness in the place of our sins, and all plagues will leave the planet. Hallelujah. Glory to the Holy One of Israel.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I just want to inform everyone that next week we will have no program. The series will continue the following week due to a conference that will be held from the congregation in Barbados. So again, the following week, this series will continue. Have a blessed week, and may the Creator continue to watch between us while we are separated one from another. So done.